There's a particular hormone called cortisol.
Yeah.
And cortisol is released by the body when you start to experience stress. What we're looking at is taking baseline readings and then looking at the levels of cortisol throughout the day whilst you're undertaking various exercises. So we're just going to be looking at the changes in your cortisol levels.
You will need a total of 10 of these each. First thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, spit twice into the 2 tubes, stick them in the fridge and bring them with you when you come in.
So the idea is that we should have had one as you've arrived now. So if we can do one now, and then we'd have one just prior to the exercise and then one after the exercise.
And 2 in the evening. You're going to label up, so it has your code on it, it has the number of the assay, and we'd like the time of day.
Helping Bernie today hopefully set things up in terms of the physiology and measuring the physiology. We've got 4 different machines. Remember last time I brought the portable one last time, which was the Nexus? I've got that today. Unfortunately we've only got one of them. The Nexus works off a wireless system. So I'm going to maybe take one of the, whoever's in the pilot study, I'll be able to do what they call skin conductivity with the Nexus. So I'll do that with one student. But the other 4 will all be linked, plus that student will also be linked up to what we call these other machines here, which are hardwired. But you'll have a belt around your chest. You'll also have something on your finger as well.
All the data is going to be collected onto the server, so we can go to then get the robot to analyse.
Just one more thought about the machines is the advantage of the machines that we're using today, which are called Lab Tutor, is that they give a very, very accurate reading, a very reliable sort of state-of-the-art machines. The advantage of the Nexus is that it operates by Bluetooth. For the future, the Nexus could well be the way to go. Because it's not hardwired, it means that the actor's free to move around. So potentially we could actually do the same kind of measurements with you actually acting normally, in rehearsal and in performance. This is Kate, is a psychologist from the University of West of England. She has been involved in the project from the beginning, and she prepared the questionnaires that you'll be filling out in the course of the day. There's a list of exercises. It's very simple, just circle things. And also, in a minute, we want to talk to you a little bit about a debrief at the end. So far, we've been a little bit vague about it, and that there's very good reasons for that, because we don't want to sort of prejudice your responses.
From a kind of ethical standpoint, it's really important that you know exactly what it is that you've been involved in and what we're trying to find out and things. And we're also interested in finding out, how you found the whole experience of doing the whole study. So it's literally just going to be kind of 15-20 minutes at the end. You're just going to have a very informal chat.
We're going to work on the step out, which, as you remember, we use at the end of each pattern to clear that pattern out of the way and prepare the way for the next one. So we're using exactly the same breath pattern as we do for neutral breath. Just check that your gaze is level and you're looking as if you're standing on a cliff, looking at the horizon. And just count the breath one more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And for the step out, you lace your fingers in front of you. Now, on the in-breath, we're just going to lift the arms high up. Now, there comes a kind of point where you're feeling quite stretched, so you'll probably need to bend at the elbows so the hands drop behind your head. And you're going to squeeze the palms together, but just be careful you don't engage the muscles at the back of your neck at the same time. And then on the out breath, let the arms return to their original position. The relaxation focuses on 5 areas, so eyes and brow, first of all. Then we move on to the area around the mouth. So that's obviously the jaw muscles are quite prominent there. Then the mouth itself, including the tongue. Another area which, as everyone knows, accumulates quite a lot of tension is the neck and shoulder area. From the neck and shoulders we extend down into the back itself. We move on to the junction points, meaning the shoulders, the hips, The basic position while we're working is that rather kind of slumped position with the hands just totally by the side. So we end up with, hopefully, in a very, very relaxed position. So some of you will do ALBA first, some of you will do method first, and the particular emotions which are addressed by the different exercises, the order of those will change as well. But what I will say is that generally speaking, we'll finish on a positive emotion, just to minimise the risk of any sort of unpleasant after effects for you. In this pattern, the body is physically relaxed, but it's as if the weight of the world is on your shoulders, so you feel kind of weighed down by gravity. The chest is collapsed, as if life or fate or a person has thumped you in the chest. And that collapsed position brings the eye line onto the floor. We've got a relatively tricky facial expression with this one. So what we're trying to do is bring the eyebrows together and up. And at the same time, the corners of the mouth are pulled down by the muscles just here. Breathing. So we're taking 3 light in-breaths through the nose. Not necessarily filling up the lungs completely, and then you sigh out through the mouth. And then when you think that your lungs are empty, you pump out some more breath in steps. So this pattern very readily lends itself to some kind of sound on the out-breath. If you do experience induction, great, fantastic. Keep the pattern going, but allow the emotion to happen at the same time.
What the body's got to do.
Yeah.
Instinctively, I feel down, and then when you add everything else, then it layers it on for me.
It was more a physical response rather than an emotional one. However, during that exercise I noticed what my face does when I experience that emotion, and it's not the same facial expression as that. So I don't know because I noticed my breathing was similar, but I don't know, my face just didn't feel right.
With the breathing pattern, I had to keep reminding myself to go back to it, because otherwise you can sort of let the emotion overtake you, I think. Obviously it's a way to get into an emotion, but I found that I was forgetting to breathe, and you had to keep reminding me to keep going back to the...
So we're going to work on a situation where you lost something that you valued very much. It could be something quite major, it could be something that's something like a pet, which at the time you value very highly. What it is that you lost is your choice, and obviously the stakes will rise depending on what it is you choose to work with. The aim is to reconstruct that situation using the 5 senses. It might help you, as you're doing the exercise, to remember the actual method relaxation. We do want the emotion to happen. That's what we're actually trying to arouse it, but by somewhat indirect means, sneaky means. But the important thing is that you actually stay relaxed as you're doing the exercise in order to allow it to happen.
I felt my brain and my body trying to resist it, which I was trying to do at the time. But of course I wanted, part of the exercise to carry on going deeper. So there was the conflict there.
After we've out of it and after we've done the step out exercise, when I was doing my journal and speaking about it now, I'm having more of an effect about it. Like I feel like I'm getting upset now after the exercise has stopped.
Okay.
And that was similar in the last bit as well.
Obviously feeling as though I'm back in the situation, it really just upset me.
And what are you feeling right now?
I feel okay. I didn't think I'd be upset, like that upset about it. But yeah, I feel okay. I feel alright. I don't feel upset.
In pattern 1B, the breath is through the nose. The in-breath is the same length as the out-breath. It's a strong breath, not necessarily quick. There's a slight pause at the top of the breath, and a slight pause at the bottom of the breath. And make sure you're breathing into the diaphragm. The face, the lower eyelid is raised so that the eyes are narrowed and you're fixed on an object in front of you. The lower jaw is brought forward slightly, as if you're about to bite something. The muscle tone is very tense, right from head to toe, and there's a feeling of wanting to kind of burst forward. The chest is up and forwards.
I felt a lot of contained anger and frustration. I felt really like sad as well.
I felt tense physically and I was kind of shaking a little bit, but I didn't really feel any sort of motivation to do anything like I did with the previous exercises where I had some sort of I didn't have an emotional reaction, I had a physical reaction.
For me it was 5 minutes of red mist when I'm used to having about 2 seconds before I usually go off, so it was really, in an interesting way, very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But useful for if you ever wanted to portray anger at the snapping point.
So the first situation is a situation where you've had a confrontation with somebody. And this confrontation has made you feel like lashing out, as if you want to destroy the other person, focusing on the sense memories.
I think I've got better, like concentration-wise, because when I'm in it, I'm really, really in it, and I can feel like my hands were clenching and my jaw was so tight. But then sometimes I just would go off on tangents.
I felt the physical sensations, the vibration, the shaking, and I really wanted to do something. I wanted to say something, and I feel that if I had, it would have taken me, if I'd have actually articulated how I felt, it might have gone even further.
I think I made a mistake and picked one that I shouldn't have delved into, because it was with someone that I've had many incidents with before and many more afterwards as well. I was probably picked one that was too deep, maybe. Work though. Go team. I've found it hard to be able to come out.
If you're going to do an exercise in emotion memory, the actual selection of the memories is important, isn't it?
Oh, well, next time I'll definitely pick something that's like when I picked something with loss. I picked someone that died that was not so close that it was destroyed me. Someone that it was sad, but it wasn't really life changing.
This pattern is called 3A. Physically, it's very loose, very kind of bouncy, or sort of almost out of control, but not quite. Your smile, big smile on the face. It's partly nose breathing, partly mouth breathing. So you're taking a single light breath in through the nose. There's a very slight pause where maybe you might connect with another person, or you might connect with an imaginary person in front of you. And then the breath comes out in steps. So it's when you think that you've gone to empty, you kind of try and go a little bit beyond that. This one lends itself to sound. I'm not saying that's compulsory. If the appropriate emotion starts to kind of take you over, of course let it. But at the same time, we don't want to entirely lose sight of the pattern.
I just let myself go and just went stuff funny. Even though I was making myself laugh, hearing like Edge and Fallon laugh as well, that got me even more happier.
The moving about, I found that hard to maintain. Like, I felt a bit of a plonker. And yeah, I don't know if it's because I hate my smile. I'd never smile with my teeth. So I don't know if the facial expression would back me off a bit, because I don't like teeth smiles. So that's probably why I didn't get into it as intensely.
Only when I connected with people did I feel the need to laugh. But then I'm the opposite to you with the moving, because the moving really helps me. But the breathing pattern doesn't go with my movements. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, the moving helps me to get into it, but once I'm actually laughing, I have to stop moving, because it puts me off.
You're going to work on a situation where you enjoyed yourself a lot. And maybe a situation where a friend of yours said something that made you laugh so much it was actually quite painful. And you were laughing so much you kind of wanted it to stop, but couldn't.
Mine was touch, and touch has never usually been a massive one for me.
Yeah.
But it was, we were playing a game on the iPad. Do you know the game, the Heads game?
Yeah.
We were playing that. Oh my God. But it was one where you couldn't speak. So like, he was trying to act it out to me, and then it was like the weight of the iPad, like going backwards and forwards, and what I could see at the same time.
It was easy to find the senses and remember it. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's just because I've cherished this thought, and you're happy to talk about these kind of thoughts and tell stories, so it's easy to access them. Other than the sad ones, they're just as important thoughts, but they're not ones you go about telling everyone.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it had something to do with the kind of thought it was.
I could hear, I could taste, I could smell, and whilst the main objective, the main memory was kicking in, I could still hear the background noises perfectly. I was just like biting my lip not to laugh, and then I can hear my mates and seeing them from the corner of my eye just like sniggering because they're seeing me still laughing, and I've really enjoyed it. I felt really warm.
So from kind of an ethical standpoint, we need to tell you what it is that we've been doing today. So we're interested in the subjective emotional experience that actors to these two different ACT exercises.
It depends on what you kind of consider as results, because when I was doing emotional memory one, knowing that I was like experiencing things, I felt that I had achieved something, I had got a result, so therefore I would say that one was more successful for me, and I would continue to use that to get into characters and portray emotion. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that the techniques and the breathing patterns of ALBA emoting won't help me in future. I think it's kind of trying to get a balanced mix.
Because the ALBA gets you to that emotional state very fast, whereas the ALBA, you have to, the emotion memory method, you have to build yourself up.
Yeah.
So the ALBA helps you get the emotion memory faster, and the emotion memory helps the ALBA get to a more extreme level of the emotion. So I feel like they lend to each other in a fantastic way.
I think that ALBA emoting works better for me because I'm not massively in touch with my emotions, and things that have happened in the past get pushed to the back and we move on. And that's just how I function.
Yeah.
But I've been dancing since I was very, very little, so my muscle memory is very like active, and I'm very aware of my muscle memory and what my muscles do and what my body does. So I think with the ALBA emoting, because my body recognises, because my brain recognises what my body is doing and what state it's in, then it clicks something in my brain.
Simply, I found emotion memory more easier to connect with, maybe, I don't know, because I feel
it's more personal.
Because it's more personal, I therefore felt I was giving more. However, there is a little bit of vanity in that. The sad thing is that we haven't actually been given a character to work on. So that's all we've had is our own experiences. I don't know how useful it's going to be when I have somebody else's circumstances to consider. ALBA emoting, I, like Ab, haven't had much experience with. It did feel a little bit cartoon character at times, but then again, it worked at times as well.
Going back to what you were saying, I think that if I had circumstances and a world that I knew I was inhabiting, and I was doing the ALBA emoting, using that in the rehearsal process, in the preparation, I might get more results from, because I'd know exactly the specifics of what's going on in this imaginary world around me. So I think that that might be beneficial in that way. If you're thinking about your mother, when in actual fact the character's thinking about their, I don't know, wife or whatever, you know, that might create an emotion in you that isn't quite what the character might be going through. But then again, who's to say what the character is going through?
The characters are people, like, you know, that we give voices to.
Yeah.
And so we only know so much, you know, in the play. We only have so much information. how far can we go without needing our own things as
flesh
well?
it out, as it
Yeah. How far does it go until stuff like emotional memory becomes too much about me and not about the character?
Especially today, from what I went through the emotional memory thing earlier, definitely knowing that I can go to a place, and you know, I wasn't able to instantly cut it off. Like Jimmy, I wasn't able just to do the step out technique and be fine. Like, it actually, most of the emotion for me came after. But knowing that I can go to that place is actually quite a good thing, and I didn't think that it was really possible.
If the actor is just portraying the physical aspects of emotion but doesn't experience it subjectively, does that mean that the audience is less likely to experience the emotion as well? Or does the actor have to genuinely experience an emotion for the audience to experience it?
Regardless of how we feel, our job as actors is how we give an impression on the audience and what they see and what they feel.
Yeah.
If we're doing things to make us feel sad and make us feel angry on stage, I mean, it's important to kind of be within it to really be able to explore emotion, but if that's leaving the audience cold, then we're failing. I've got two friends that could, one, when they go to see a performance, to see someone with the physicality will make them really feel the performance, and they'll see the physicality and be like, yeah, I'm really in. Whereas other person will be like, they weren't in it. It'd be interesting to see all of the people's reactions to the different 3B3 whatever, and see which one made an impression on the person watching the video of it.
Yeah.
Because then that would correlate to. But once again, it would be different opinions throughout the room. But it's what effect would be having on them that's important.